Science advances one funeral at a time. Truth never triumphs, its opponents just die out. The scientist needs an artistically creative imagination. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force. There is no matter as such. Mind is the matrix of all matter. Every advance in knowledge brings us face to face with the mystery of our own being. I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as a derivative of consciousness. It was not by accident that the greatest thinkers of all ages were deeply religious souls. Experiment is the only means of knowledge at our disposal. Everything else is poetry, imagination. What seems today inconceivable will appear one day, from a higher standpoint, quite simple and harmonious. There can never be any real opposition between religion and science, for the one is the complement of the other. A new truth always has to contend with many difficulties. If it were not so, it would have been discovered much sooner. Whence come I and whither go I? That is the great unfathomable question, the same for every one of us. Science has no answer to it. In all my research, I have never come across matter. To me, the term matter implies a bundle of energy which is given form by an intelligent spirit. Science cannot solve the ultimate mystery of nature, and that is because, in the last analysis, we ourselves are a part of the mystery that we are trying to solve. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter. Anybody who has been seriously engaged in scientific work of any kind realizes that over the entrance to the gates of the temple of science are written the words, "You must have faith." A scientific truth does not triumph by convincing its opponents and making them see the light, but rather because its opponents eventually die, and a new generation grows up that is familiar with it. I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness. We cannot get behind consciousness. Everything that we talk about, everything that we regard as existing, postulates consciousness. Science does not mean an idle resting upon a body of certain knowledge. It means unresting endeavor and continually progressing development toward an end, which the poetic intuition may apprehend, but which the intellect can never fully grasp. The highest court is in the end one's own conscience and conviction. That goes for you and for Einstein and every other physicist, and before any science there is first of all belief. For me, it is belief in a complete lawfulness in everything that happens. New scientific ideas never spring from a communal body, however organized, but rather from the head of an individually inspired researcher, who struggles with his problems in lonely thought and unites all his thought on one single point, which is his whole world for the moment. Modern physics has taught us that the nature of any system cannot be discovered by dividing it into its component parts and studying each part by itself. We must keep our attention fixed on the whole and on the interconnection between the parts. The same is true of our intellectual life. It is impossible to make a clear cut between science, religion, and art. The whole is never equal simply to the sum of its various parts. There can never be any real opposition between religion and science, for the one is the complement of the other. Every serious and reflective person realizes, I think, that the religious element in his nature must be recognized and cultivated if all the powers of the human soul are to act together in perfect balance and harmony. And indeed, it was not by accident that the greatest thinkers of all ages were deeply religious souls. As a man who has devoted his whole life to the most clear-headed science, to the study of matter, I can tell you as a result of my research about atoms this much. There is no matter as such. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particle of an atom to vibration and holds this most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter.